Hello, and welcome to the Global Luxury Real Estate Mastermind with me, your host, Michael Valdes. Today's guest, oh my God, you guys are going to love this guy. Someone who I've wanted to have on the show for a while. This man is the managing director of Avenues Realty. He is a marketing genius. Wait until we break this down. He's got almost 400,000 followers on TikTok. It is amazing. Alexander Zakharin, welcome to the show. How are you, brother?
Thank you, Michael. Thanks for having me. All good. How you been?
I've been fantastic. And you know, we have a lot of mutual friends in common. I've been wanting to have you on the show for a while. Somehow the scheduling got mixed up, but here you are, and I'm so happy.
Thank you so much. Very happy to be with you.
Absolutely. So let's start from the beginning. Tell me how you got started in real estate.
It's a long story. So I ended up in
We've got time.
Good. Sounds good. Well, I'm an immigrant. I came from Russia, outside of the US. And New York was always on my radar. I always wanted to go there. And unlike many other people who would come to New York, like having a job offer or like knowing someone, having your, family, brothers, cousins, whatever, I came here without having any of those. And the reason for me to go to New York was just to end up in New York because I love the city. I've been here before for a few times. Back then, I was working full-time in oil and gas back in my home country in Russia, basically doing sales for oil and gas, but I knew nothing about real estate. I knew almost nothing about media. I think I got an idea of how to market stuff because I was selling, commodities like oil and gas. If you compare it with real estate, it's very similar. I mean, it's completely different, but it's very similar the way you need to find the clients and identify the need and kind of deliver it to the market, right? But the business was completely different. So I ended up in Manhattan, and I think it was pretty much my first week. I somehow landed this opportunity in the company where it's Avenues Real Estate. I still work with the same company. It's the same company where I started. I know, so it's basically a friend of mine who knew a girl who was employed in this company. And he was like, you know what, she's as crazy as you because she came for just like you without knowing anyone, no prospects, nothing. And she went to work and looks like she's doing fine, but whatever, you guys should get in touch. We got in touch. She arranged an interview with me. I got interviewed by my team leader, and that's how it all started.
That's amazing. First of all, I love Russia. I've been to Russia many times. I have many Russian friends. I know you're from St. Petersburg, which is actually one of my most favorite cities in the world. For those of you that don't know it, I mean, it is literally Venice. It is gorgeous, and I love it. But what's interesting, Alexander? I'm the son of an immigrant as well, and it's really interesting because I think that there's a certain sort of like mentality, right? That sort of like clicks, where it's almost like success is what is there's no option. You just have to succeed because there's no plan B, right? So the energy and that sort of like going without a safety net is really what I've sort of seen as a common denominator of like, the honor that I've had of really interviewing a lot of people on the show that were immigrants or sons of immigrants. It seems to be a common denominator.
If you think about it, it's crazy because just like you said, there is no plan B, there is no contingency plan, right? So it's how mentality and the brain works. Even like back home, I mean, like in Russia, I would have a lot of choices, right? And even though I would always try to work hard and succeed and do my best, back then I would be like, okay, if this thing doesn't work out, probably I can do a bunch of other things, right? As opposed to coming here and starting from scratch. And exactly just like you said, like you have to make it work. But also, like the other thing is that you don't know a lot of things and you don't know a lot of people, right? So as opposed to your home country where you grew up, like your school buddies or college friends, there's always someone who can always assist you with getting an interview or an opportunity and stuff, right? Especially you take higher industries like oil and gas, for instance. There's a harder entry level because you have to know someone who knows someone, and then it's hard to know someone if you're not from there, right? So, and applying it here in New York, Manhattan, I mean, it's a lot of opportunities. I know, like for instance, getting a real estate license and work in real estate, it's even easier than getting a taxi driving license, right?
Exactly.
Faster. That's why you come here. I don't know. I mean, numbers better than I do. I think we'll have roughly 40,000 like active licenses.
Yeah.
Active licenses in New York alone. And we probably have 80,000 licenses, like active and non-active. It's just like someone who got a license and works occasionally. So competition is intense because it's so much easier to get into real estate here than, getting anything else.
It makes your story so much more fascinating. It really does. The fact that you knew no one. You came to this country from Russia, zero. You came into the most competitive real estate market in the United States, just to sort of make it a little bit more fun for you.
Yeah,
so
I didn't know it back then. I mean,
right. Surprise, right?
Yeah.
All right. So now let's talk about the fact of marketing. Let's keep TikTok on the side for a second. Okay, how important do you think marketing is for someone? And you're probably the most perfect person to answer this question because you literally knew no one.
No one. That's true.
Tell me about marketing and what that plays in the role of a real estate agent.
Marketing is everything. Why? Because we don't create a product. We're not competing in terms of, our car is faster or our phone has better memory, right? We're pretty much like, we are biased towards the product, right? We can sell anything, or rent, right? Because I'm sure, part of your audience, some people rent apartments, some people sell apartments, right? Essentially, it boils down to doing the same thing. I think it's all the same. So I feel like marketing, it really reflects like your personality. And when I started out in my company, Avenues Real Estate was called GZB back then. It's the same company now, just Avenues Real Estate, different name. My principal broker, Itai Gamlieli, he told me, like, Alex, you don't sell Samsung or Apple. You don't have to compete. Like, say, if you sell Apple, you would be competing with Samsung. And people Samsung would be say, oh, maybe operational system is better, maybe camera is better. And you will say, yeah, but our ecosystem is better and we have more applications. You don't have to say that. What you have to do is like sell yourself and explain to your client that, like, I'm happy with any choice you make as long as you make this choice with me and you stick to me, basically. That's the only reason. How you do that? By marketing yourself. So when I was starting out, I was very restricted in terms of the tools because, first of all, social media, like, we had Instagram back then, we didn't have TikTok back then, right?
Right.
But also, with this thing with Zillow, Street Easy, that's the platform everybody uses in New York.
Of course.
Right? So,
yeah.
Exactly. You need to have an exclusive listing to legally post your stuff there. Imagine you're an agent. Maybe some agents listening to you right now. Like, you just started out, right? You do it maybe even part-time. A lot of newly coming agents that do it part-time. Maybe at night you drive Uber to pay your bills, and during the day you try to make a deal done, right? And you don't have any exclusive. No one knows you, right? What you do. So I had the same question before. I started posting on Craigslist. Believe it or not, the platform's been around for like 100 years. I think they didn't even change the website. It just works, right? From the 90s to 2000, 2015, 2021 now. I haven't checked it recently, but I'm sure it's the same working platform, right?
Yeah.
Like very rough, right? Like done with hammer, as we say back home. But it works. So Craigslist was free to post for a while. Then they started to charge. But like back then it was free. And then I'm like, okay, where else can I post my apartments? And it's all the same platforms. They look exactly the same. Craigslist, RentHub, apartments.com, and then Marketing Place from Facebook came along. I just started doing all that stuff. But then the drawback is that, first of all, you need to post hundreds of ads because they need to be seen, right? Like say, for instance, Michael is on the market for a penthouse apartment next to Central Park. Well, Michael's gonna look for the apartments, maybe on Craigslist, we don't know, but maybe, we assume. So we're gonna explode it there and like blast Craigslist, and I will make sure that I will have like 100 different ads of the same apartment, hoping that Michael will see my listing, my ad, right? And then the other drawback of that, apart from like a lot of hours that you need to put, is that you advertise apartment. You're not advertising yourself, you advertise the apartment. And so if the person comes, our main idea back when I was starting was, I will meet 3 people per day, like 3 people roughly, right? And I will show them different apartments, which were not even mine. It's an open market, like in New York. You have open market and you have exclusive market. And of course, as a new agent, you start with the open market. So apartment is not yours. But if you rent it, you have a chance to get your commission, right? So the idea was like, I will meet with 3 people or more per day. And then my team leader said, listen, like Alex, the closing rate is you close 1 in 8. You close 1 in 8. So like if you meet 8 people in a month, you're gonna close a deal per month. If you meet them in 2-3 days, you will close a deal in 2-3 days. I'm like, cool, I'll try to meet them all in 1 day and maybe even more, right? So you kind of accelerate. So that was the basic marketing tool back then, right? And also, my team leader, Tigran, he told me like, also make sure that people know you, like your entourage, people on your Facebook, people on your Instagram. The easiest thing, and I always tell it to my agents, the easiest thing is just make sure they know what you do. Like say you've been in photography before, right? And you still do, photography as a side hustle or maybe just your hobby, but you're a full-time real estate agent, right? So make sure that it doesn't say, I take cool pictures or I'm a professional camera guy or girl. Just say that I'm in real estate. And you can also mention that you do photography. So people
what we always say is don't be a secret agent, right?
Don't be a secret agent unless you
let people know what you do.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's sort of like your ambition is amazing. What you just said, when someone sort of said your closing rate is 1 in 8, and if you speak to 8 people in a month, you'll close 1. And you sort of said, what if I do that in a day? And so that was sort of like, that just sort of shows where you were and what your ambition was, which is really so admirable. But now take me to TikTok, where we are now. I just checked your account. You're just at about 400,000 followers, which is extraordinary. That's extraordinary. How did you do that?
That's another long story, but thank God we'll have time, right?
We have time. This one's an important one.
TikTok started in the beginning of 2020, right before the pandemic, right? Yeah. So, and then when COVID happened and all the brokers stopped working, I was trying to figure out what to do next. I remember I was sitting here in my home office as well and like reading a book. That was like Saturday. We went on the lockdown March 16th. So March 20th, 21st, that was the weekend. And I was thinking like, what the heck are we doing next?
Because nobody knew what it would last, right? Nobody knew how long it would last.
No one knew how long, no one knew what's next.
Right.
Yeah, the panic, we were panic stricken, like everybody, right? So, and I was thinking like, I mean, it's nice to do what we did, but will the business be the same? Because, and we didn't know. And so back then at the same weekend, I'm receiving a message from one of my clients. I helped them to find an apartment. They rented an apartment. They rented it for 24 months, 2 years. Both of them got fired from the work. I mean, one got fired, the other one, we call it furloughed, right?
Furloughed, yes.
Yeah, temporarily grounded. Yeah. And I mean, the rent just started. They rented it a few months ago and they went to Georgia, right? And there's like, Alex, what do we do? Because we pay obscene amount of money every month for the next 20 months, whatever, almost 2 years. And I'm like, listen, hypothetically, we can put it on the market now and we can rent it. And someone would start the lease from scratch. You'll be off the hook. You don't have to have this headache, whatever. I know you guys in Georgia, let me try to handle it. And I was like, I honestly don't know what we're gonna do with the whole situation, but I think the first step is putting on the market and figure out the strategy. And they're like, sure. I went there inside next day, did a tour, posted it on TikTok, posted it everywhere essentially, but on TikTok. And then just killed it in the next 2 days. I rented this apartment. And also, since no one was showing the building, it's one of the Upper East Side big door buildings on 87th Street. Since no one was showing it, including the agent who was in charge, I basically rented 4 more apartments like this because the interest was big. I think a lot of people moved because it was like a regular, it's expensive, but 1-bedroom apartment. Sure. A lot of people moving, like downsizing, basically moving from 2 bedrooms or luxurious, super luxurious buildings to just a little bit less luxurious building to save a few thousand per month.
Absolutely.
Was on fire. So with the social media, TikTok, but also, Instagram and everything else, but TikTok played a big part in that. We rented 5 apartments in 2 days. Paperwork took longer than the process of renting the apartment. Like, okay, so if that works, if it looks like people do rent apartments, they make these decisions based on what they've seen on TikTok, sometimes sight unseen, sometimes they still want to show up. Building on 87, some people were like, sure, like I'll just sign the lease. And like a couple of guys were like, yeah, but I need to see it first. That's fine. We'll accommodate. But yeah, if people do make those decisions to rent an apartment on TikTok, I was like, just post more TikToks. That's it.
That's
and
amazing.
That's how it started.
Wow. So how long did it take you to get to literally 400,000 followers? It seems like a little over a year then, right?
Yeah. So, just like most stuff in life, it's not linear. It's not going this way, but it rather goes this way, and then all of a sudden it explodes.
Yes.
Maybe it explodes a few times like this, right?
Yeah.
So it took me maybe from the beginning of 2020 to the end of 2020 to build my first, I want to say 70,000 followers, something like this. It took almost a year to build that base. And it was enough, Michael. Basically, I would post good deals, and it didn't even have to be super viral. Like I remember by the Christmas time, I posted this one landlord in West Village. There was an apartment, like duplex apartment. You have outdoor space, you have first floor and basement floor, you have a fireplace, 2 bathrooms, washer and drying unit. It's relatively spacious, great location. I mean, it's next to what do you call it? There's this top restaurant, Dante. It's was voted as one of the best restaurants in the world, I think, and right next to this apartment. Wow. So I posted it on TikTok. I think it went, like we have gross prices and net prices, like gross price you pay, net price is like a 3 months, whatever, included, it shrinks the price. So I posted as a net price, of course, openly saying that, you got 3 months, whatever. And the price was insane. Was it like 3,500 or something like this? You can move in with your friend, with your partner. So it's a lot of space. I posted it. We got not exactly viral, maybe like 100,000 views in the first couple of days.
That's not a bad view.
It's good. But the leads just poured in, man. Leads coming all night. Next day I'm waking up. I'm like, okay, there's these guys that want to see that. I'm like, all right, let's arrange. I arranged 5 different people to see this apartment.
That's amazing.
4 of them applied by the same night. 4 out of 5 applied. I'm saying because I told them, listen, guys, you need to be the first one to apply, and whoever applies first, we'll send it to the landlord, and let's see how it goes, right?
I love it.
And without even warning, 4 of them sent me full paperwork same day before Christmas. This is what 87% conversion rate, something like this.
You have found an amazing sort of niche because you're so good at it. It comes back to the hundreds of ads you used to do at Craigslist. Now it's the TikTok is what you're doing by just keeping on posting with the consistency, right? And your net results are much larger because your audience is larger. But I want to talk to you about that. So let's talk about like technology in like a post-pandemic world, right? So we went through like what you were talking about and what was available to you in the very beginning, like Craigslist and other things where you just started and figured out, how do I do this? Now you have TikTok and other mediums. How do you sort of see technology playing into the industry overall in a post-pandemic world?
Technology is going to be more and more important, the way I feel, the way people make all the decisions, including buying real estate, including buying cars, furniture, everything. I was in China last time in 2016. I was doing my summer classes, Chinese classes and stuff. That was like after college, but basically before I came here, right? And I noticed that people in China, they would buy everything online, sometimes without seeing that. I witnessed a guy, I mean, with fairness, we need to say that, he just sold his company, he cashed out, he was enjoying himself, but there are a lot of people like that. I've seen myself, like the guy buying a car, Maserati car, online and having it delivered like in the next few days, whatever. Like, oh my God, I haven't really seen people making that decisions online. I mean, I would assume that probably you need to go to the car dealership and I don't know.
Listen, I bought my car online in an hour for my place in Miami. I wanted I needed a car in Miami. I literally bought it in an hour, and I was actually on a business trip. I went online, I bought the car, I knew what I wanted. It was delivered by the time I came back to Miami to my front door.
My God, you see, you're ahead of time. and you see, and did you have any regrets? Was the car great?
No, are you kidding? I loved it.
I love it. You see,
it was perfect.
that's amazing, and it's perfect. So you bought a car, you got it delivered, you saved your time, now you're enjoying the product, right? So I think the same thing would work more and more and more with real estate purchases or
100%.
other stuff, right? So we notice that people do make the decisions on renting apartments on TikTok, but the challenge for me was pretty much this year when we started growing the audience. I was thinking like, do you think people can buy apartments based on TikTok? Let's say like they see the apartment and they love the apartment. Do you think that alone would be enough for them to reach out to you as an agent and say, like, Michael, Alex, I've seen your TikTok, I've seen this apartment. Can you show me this apartment? I'm interested in it. And I started testing it out, and I started posting more high-end properties and more apartments for sale. And of course, it's a kind of like, it's a catch-22 situation in a way, because as a real estate agent, like, guys that are listening to you now, I'm sure, like, you want to make sure that you have a cash flow. For cash flow, for fast cash flow, you need a lot of rental apartments, a lot of rental deals.
Right. When you start, absolutely, yes.
Start, exactly. And then once you transition to sale, the challenge with sale, and every single new agent, not even new, you can be in business for like 4 years, 3 years, you still puzzle how you do it. How you transition to like sale clients, where you get sale clients, how you make your first sale, and how long you have to wait for the money after the first sale, right? And there's no precise answers. Like sometimes one of your ex-rental clients might reach out to you and say, Michael, you rented me an apartment 5 years ago, now I'm ready to buy, right?
Absolutely.
Sometimes out of the blue, they might come and like, I love this apartment, I'm going to buy it now. Sometimes
they see you on TikTok.
Sometimes they see on TikTok, and then we started testing it out, and little by little, some of the people, they started reaching out to us. And for me, the breakthrough was when I sold an apartment to a 20-year-old, in her early 20s girl. It was a funny thing. She reached out to me. I posted this one of the apartments on 130 William Street. It's a big window, like arched windows.
Yep.
Beautiful building. I'm a big fan.
I actually know the building, yes.
Yeah. So anyways, and then I posted one of their apartments, and it was beautiful, and it just skyrocketed on Instagram. I remember we've been just moving that day from one open house to the other open house on my way in Uber in the car with a bunch of other real estate agents from my company. I just literally posted this stuff, used the music that I loved, shot it, and next day we got almost 1 million, views, and I got around 5 buyers, like leads.
That's amazing.
5 buying leads.
I love that.
Yeah, and then some of them didn't stick around, but there was this girl, so she was basically looking for the apartment. She liked tie-dye. She lives in New York, originally from Atlanta. So her mom was buying the apartment, and mom was pretty much paying the bill. But the decision had to be done by the girl. And she did her decision based on TikTok. And she's Gen Z. I mean, so I'm
absolutely.
I'm considered as a millennial myself, right? So Gen Z would be a little younger. So Gen Z and millennials, there are similarities. Probably there are some differences, but I find
they can still speak the same language.
Yeah. Exactly. So she bought the apartment, and I was like,
I love that story. So tell me this, you've probably answered a few of this already. So someone coming in new to the industry, right? Yes. What would be 3 pieces of advice you would give that person?
First thing, make sure you can commit full time, and you can just jump in. It goes back to what you said, Michael, about having plan A, plan B. You don't need plan B. You just need a really nice plan A, something that you can
stick to it. That's right.
Do it and give it time. 99% of the agents who focus full time, they make it. And 99% of marketing agents, they have to drop, right? So focus full time, wholeheartedly, just go into it. My second advice would be like, apply your personality. Stop you think is your drawback, right? Something that's holding you back might actually be your strength. That's for sure.
It's what makes you unique.
Makes you unique, exactly. So that will be second piece. And third, it's probably be creative, man. Just be creative with marketing. Be creative with anything. No one would tell you. There's no roadmap. Like, we don't know. I'm always thinking, what's gonna kick our butts next time? Like, today's TikTok, right? Okay, what's next? YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, augmented reality. Augmented reality, it's the next big thing for real estate.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so virtual course, what's going to be the next thing that we might be applying now, and listening to everybody saying, like, no sayers saying, no, it's not going to work, but we apply it now, so it will explode next year, maybe.
Sure.
So technology and marketing, that's another big thing.
I love that. So tell me what the greatest lesson you've learned in your career thus far.
Oh, so many. So many. In real estate, right?
Anything you want to tell me?
Anything. You know, maybe two things really. First, like in real estate, you always hear from, you know, team leaders and brokers and real estate agents, something like it has to do with control, even though I don't like the word control, but like my principal broker told me, you know, you have clients, everybody is different, everybody wants different stuff, and then they come to you and, you know, they might use you for a while, which is fine. I mean, you know, in a way we're here to be used as real estate agents, but he told me, like, you need to make sure that you're in control of these relations. Because, and what it means really, it means, like, say someone's saying, you know what, I need an apartment by tomorrow, I want this and that, send me a few options that you have, let me know. And then they disappear and they talk to other 10 brokers, right?
Right.
Being in control means not like you in control and like you're boss of these relations, but being in control means you reach out to this person and say, listen, your situation is complicated. I need to know more details so I can help you and save your time. And also, I need to talk to you and meet you in person. You can tell me what type of apartments you like before we will move forward, because I want to save your time, right? And also, I want to know your situation, how we can get you approved. Or if you buy an apartment, you're probably a busy person, right? So why don't we just meet? You tell me about your dreams, about your lifestyle and everything else. And then we'll move forward and get you the best apartment in faster amount of time. So you kind of like, you're in control of these relations now because you set out the plan, but the plan is meant for the client. The plan helps them, but you're being in control. So as opposed to you like running as a headless chicken, kind of getting all the clients and stuff, you know, that was a valuable thing that I learned here in real estate.
It's always what we sort of say, especially on this show, is that, you know, the idea is to become the trusted advisor. Right, to be having a seat at the table for that client, because it's not, you don't want to be a transactional broker, right? You want to be a generational broker. You want to make sure that those people are also saying, you know, you got to use Alex when it's their kids or their parents or whatever it is, and sort of say, this is an advisor. It's that shift in the mind of an agent is what changes careers.
Exactly. That's exactly not to be a transactional broker, but generational broker. I love it. Love it, Michael. And the second piece of advice, maybe I've heard it actually from one of your guests from before, Rodolfo Delgado. He told me that, I think he learned it from his parents as well, because they're like, you know, big successful family. He told me, never base your decision on the circumstances. And I'll give you an example. Like, say you got a referral and client went to work with you, and you thought that since it's a referral, it's a 100% closed deal, but then some things didn't work out well.
Right.
Maybe apartment you showed are not exactly the stuff. Maybe your personality as a broker is different. Maybe the circumstances changed and they're not buying it anymore, but they kind of embarrassed to tell you because they spend a lot of time. So they kind of want to like isolate for a while. That happens not often. Like, conversion rate is high. Like we try to do it, you know, that we close more and more clients. But if it happens, it's not like you need to say, oh, you know, there's a bad client, I need to call them and tell them what I'm thinking about them, or like, I'm a bad broker, I need to change the way I work, or maybe quit my job, right? You just kind of learn and you see like, okay, what can I learn from this situation? Maybe here I could do something better. Maybe here I should have done that way or should have done this way, you know, and then you learn, but you don't make your decision based on circumstances. It's like, if something doesn't work out today, doesn't mean it's not going to work out like next Monday, whatever, right?
Exactly.
Your decision should be long term. So probably the same with like real estate agents. Like if you have listening, like if real estate agents are listening to you right now, Michael, maybe they want to say, you know what, I haven't been doing deals for the past 2 months, which is fine when you start out, especially even when you continue. But when you start out, it's fine not to have deals for a while because you just don't know what to work. And then don't be discouraged in terms of, oh, you know what, I've done one deal in 2 months means I need to wait for the other 2 months. Deals are not coming linear. Like
that's right. Yeah.
And then once you sold your apartment or rented your apartment or whatever, just repeat the successful action because you know now how to scale up. So I'll give you an example. I was starting out on the Upper East Side. I was always renting $3,000 1-bedroom apartments. That was my thing. I know the landlord. I knew the type of client would be coming. It would always be young couple. They're just moving in together for the first time, probably graduated from college or been working for a while, young. You know, I knew why they're moving in. I knew what they wanted, and I knew perfect apartment and landlord who has plenty of apartments like this. So I was riding this wave. I was just like renting it. And my first year, probably most of my money, most of my business would be coming from Upper East, one bedroom, this particular landlord. So the reason I was doing it because I knew how to scale it up. So I knew how to, instead of one apartment, to rent maybe 3 apartments per week. Just because I knew the inventory, I knew how it worked, I knew the process, I was there. And then of course, another challenge came after a while. I'm like, what do I do if I want something more than renting 3 apartments per week? What if I want to something more than $1,000? What if I want to work with $30,000 clients, right? That was another thing, but before you become a bottleneck, you need to at least repeat some successful actions.
So it's the network effect, right? You just sort of like said it earlier, when it took you a year to get to 60,000 followers and then a few months to get to 400,000 followers, right? Because those 60,000 are sharing what you're doing. So the first part of that is how difficult it was, right? So, you know, it's sort of like, you know, very humbly, this show has now, it started out by being released in 5 countries, and now we're released in over 90 countries. And so that just happened just because we just keep doing what you're doing, consistency, right? And it's that network effect that happens where we're now at 12 million impressions, which boggles my mind. It's sort of like, and what I love is that I started this show during the pandemic as well, because I used to mentor a lot of folks. And so the idea was, how do I continue to get a message out to help others? And it's like, let me just go interview my friends around the world. And that's what's actually really worked. So it's what you're talking about is really that network effect.
And I really love, Michael, like the guests, they kind of similar, but from different walks of life, similar in the way they approach life and go, and things like this. When I was listening to it, I got lost. I got carried away for a few hours because like I was.
Oh,
really
you're so kind.
Yeah. No, I love
now people will be doing that with this interview with you because of your sort of advice that you've given people. So I've got one final question for you, Alex. So in your book of life, what is this chapter called? And why?
It's a deep philosophical question. I'm reading the new book of Will Smith, just released a couple of weeks ago, and all the chapters are called with one word. You know, like will, adventure, failure. So he does that. For me now, it's like at this stage, it's hard to say. Probably, like most of my life, I was learning stuff, right? I was doing stuff, but I was also learning stuff. Now I feel like we're really growing fast, and like managing the growth sometimes, that's another challenge. Maybe we can really call this chapter exploding in the good sense, like like growing, because just like you said, a few weeks ago you had 200,000 followers. Now it's almost 400,000 followers, means it's doubling very fast. Your mentality needs to explode in a good way as well, because you need to know how to approach all these new challenges, right? How you can help out more people, how you can help out to more people who are looking for apartment or something else, right? So I guess we can call it exploding, even to the point when a couple of weeks ago, I was like, everybody is asking, not a couple of weeks, a few months ago, but it happened a couple of weeks ago. Everybody was like asking, what do you do on TikTok to do what you do? Like, because people want to know. And I'm like, I was talking to my team and I'm like, guys, everybody's asking how we do what we do on TikTok, how we achieve the following and how we rent and sell apartments, how we can like maybe help them faster, because it's like you answer DM from Instagram, but then you only have that many hours per day.
Of course.
Yeah. And they're like, Alex, why wouldn't we just like come up with a sort of like guidelines, like a manual, little book, and we just like start spreading, maybe it's gonna help. So we'll launch the book as well, how to rent and sell properties successfully with the help of TikTok. And we just like basically whoever wants, we send the link, they can check the book. The idea is basically, we're trying to explode and help to as many people as possible, while making sure that we understand what's happening, because that's the challenge. Success can catch you off guard pretty much.
It certainly can, right? And that's a great lesson. Success can catch you off guard, and you have to be prepared for it.
Yeah, that's like you, Michael. You have to probably translate your podcast soon to a bunch of other languages.
Yes, we do it in 3 languages at the moment.
3 languages. So you have English.
Yes. Yes, English, Spanish, and I believe it's Portuguese.
Nice. So
yes.
Russian is coming, I'm sure.
You know what? We actually have a really large Russian clientele. It's sort of like in our top 5 countries. So wow. So you'll have a lot of followers from your home country.
Thank you. I love it.
Oh my gosh. Well, Alex, thank you so much for being on this show. I'm so glad that I got to meet you. I'm looking forward to meeting you in person. It would be really a lot of fun. And thank you so much for being so candid and for sharing so much of what your success has been.
Thanks, Michael. It's my pleasure and my honor to be with you today.
Thank you, my friend. And thank you for all of you for listening. This has been the Global Luxury Real Estate Mastermind with me, your host, Michael Valdes.